Welcome back to These Things Are Written on this Monday. And since it's Monday, the beginning of a new week, we have a brand new psalm. Psalm 34 is a psalm that we're looking at. And since I'm not going to read it all at the beginning like I have some other times, I want you to read through it, to stop this video, read through it yourself, and then pick up when you're done. Go ahead and do that now. Glad that you are back as we continue by reading Psalm 34, the first 3 verses. Of David, when he changed his behavior before Abimelech, so that he drove him out, and he went away. I will bless the Lord at all times. His praise shall continually be on my lips. My soul makes its boast in the Lord. Let the humble hear and be glad. O magnify the Lord with me. O let us exalt his name together. This is the word of the Lord. Psalm 34, a few things to know about it before we begin. It is an acrostic poem. That means that each of the verses, each of the 22 verses that are listed, 21, 22 verses, all start with the next Hebrew letter. So starting with verse 1, that would be the Aleph, and then Beth, and so on. Just like we might have a poem where we start the first line with A, and then B, and then C, etc. So that is what he is doing in this poem, this psalm. The next thing to note is this is a psalm of David, as many of them have been that we've been looking at, but this one has some historical reference to it. It says, of David when he changed his behavior. Actually, another way to look at that is when he acted crazy mad, not angry mad, but crazy mad, before Abimelech, who was a king of the Philistines, so that he drove him, David, out and he went away. Read about this, if you'd like, later on in 1 Samuel 21, verses 16 through 11. In that passage, it talks about Achish as being the king. Some think that the psalmist used a title of Abimelech, which may have been the way that the Philistines referred to their kings. So that is one thought behind it as to the difference, but it is that episode that the psalmist is writing about. The 3 verses in this section work together to form kind of the introduction, to set the theme of what the rest of the psalm is about. Verse 1 does a great job of setting that theme. It said there's 2 verses that are in parallel, working together, a great example of that. I will bless the Lord at all times. His praise shall continually be on my mouth. Again, you get that idea of blessing and praising at all times, continually in my mouth. All of those things that are going together, that reminds us of exactly what's going on there, that this is a psalm of praise to God. Second verse, my soul makes its boast in the Lord. Let the humble hear and be glad. This is kind of one of those interesting verses. It's expanding that idea, first of all, from the first verse. But it sets up kind of a parallel, kind of a contrast of sorts. It talks about boasting, but the boasting is not in personal. The boasting is in the Lord. And then let the humble hear and be glad. So it's making that play on boasting and humility. But in both ways, it is showing that the psalmist is humble. His soul is boasting in the Lord in humility. See, David sees his strength in the Lord and not in himself and not in his own wisdom. Think about what David's wisdom just led him to do that caused the Lord to have to deliver him again. David, in his wisdom, thought it would be best to go try to make an ally with the enemies of the people of Israel, the people of God. And he went to King Achish of the Philistines, of Gath. And, he probably could have been killed or taken captive, but he instead had to act crazy, started foaming at the mouth and slobbering so that the king would drive him away. See, in David's wisdom, he didn't do something very smart. Those who seek the Lord are humble. Not that they are humbled, but they are humble, realizing that we cannot do it all, that God works through us and in us and for us to deliver us. Psalm 3 are, again, parallel lines inviting all humble people to join in this song of praise, this song that exalts, that lifts up the Lord. The rest of the Psalms will go ahead and kind of expand on why we are to praise him, why all humble, why all believers are to praise him for what he has done. This psalm is a great psalm for each and every one of us because it reminds us of his presence with us. It reminds us of his leading and guiding each and every one of us in all that we do. May God bless us this week. May God bless us always as we praise him at all times, as his praise is continually on our lips. We'll see you tomorrow. God bless.